sex, bank account, politics, ethics, and religion, and children, but usually with the others. Sex. Assumption of monogamy isn't a foregone conclusion, and rules and definitions of cheating and the like should be established fairly early in the relationship. This is the first advice I'd give any couple. But if you've let it go this long, please resolve this. I've seen a lot of couples not jive with their definitions of sex, marriage, and relationships as a whole, and it'll tear them apart and lead to feelings of betrayal where none were intended if left unchecked. It's a great stress test that benefits the relationship both ways. Doing this before marriage could prevent a ton of strange discussions and problems on both ends. Bank accounts, money, and an understanding of shared economic policy for the household is very useful for retiring early, getting things done, and getting everyone what they want. If you're expecting to save and retire by 30, and your so thinks that money is being saved for a car, you're going to have issues. Quote, long-term goals, retirement, financial spending, saving structure, methods of accounting and accountability. Most people drastically underestimate the importance of money in a relationship, especially while young, when their bodies can take more punishment to make up for it. Leaving the AC up 7 to 8 degrees for the past year has saved me about $400, give or take. And that's a hardship that I can endure that my parents can't at this point. And I'm that much closer to owning my house before 30 because of it. While my dad's still paying on his at 51. Politics, ethics. This is something that I think every relationship, not just sexual, romantic, should have. Establish, not just personally but socially, a full ethical comparison module. Be introspective, and figure out why you think what you do, and expect the same of others. Actually ask questions like, what qualifications make killing another human okay? Quote, or, is stealing wrong if it's to preserve life, and then does what is stolen come into the picture? Note that it's understanding, not agreement, that you seek here. If there are substantial problems, you'll know from this and can plan for it. Problems can be sorted out, and the thought experiment is good for personal growth. Minor and specific point here: how much do you actually support your parents? Many people accept abuse from family, especially in the US, because it's socially accepted. You don't ask grandpa to be a decent human being. You just make it a point to never repeat anything he's ever said in respectable company. Anyone who's escaped abused instead of tolerating this would be offended by this stance, and would want it fixed. Generally speaking, come to terms between this, and figure out what's expected, and what you will do, if nothing else, so there are no surprises. For the other GF, and for myself, our parents can go duck themselves for the abuse and lack of support. And she's right with us on that field. This leads into the next one as well. If you have an objective, arguable ethics stance, regardless of religious belief, and your partner defines what is right by what the culture, race, religion says is acceptable, you should sort out the differences between them as early as possible. Or recognize that these things divide you by too large a gap and break up to save yourself issues. Religion, labels are fine to start, but projection is dangerous and should be avoided. Sure, a bit of an extreme example, but let's say they have both left the church, and merely hold on to a lot of the views. Always discuss what, specifically, your religion entails, especially in what it will compel you to do in daily life. Kids comes in here, and above, especially, a religious education and a secular education can easily be at odds. And watching a child grow up, being raised by a group at school that teaches your kid to hate you, would be devastating for anyone. For children specifically, please do some research with the NAEYC or other major public parenting organizations, and get research and materials on how to be good, enriching parents, and discuss these things before you settle on having a kid. It's better for everyone involved, and gives your kid a major leg up just to consider that your parents might not have been the best. TL. Doctor. Learn everything about each other, and lay very firm ground rules for the major portions of your life. Make sure to cover why you do the things you do, because that's what people are made of. And that's the most important thing to know, and the most dangerous thing to be ignorant of. Finances and children. Finances because credit scores and debt are so important to know. Children because that's a lifetime commitment in itself. If you're both not on the same page and honest about these two things, then don't get married. My top-rated comment ever. Thanks, internet strangers. Kids, wills, finances, jobs, chores, movies, songs, fetishes. Finance, merging bank accounts. I merged my account with my wife. I regret this decision. I'd rather have my own account with my salary going into it, and her have her own account with her salary going into it, and then perhaps a joint account and/or other accounts to help save up money for the kids. Duck that. I spend $16 on a book on Amazon. You can read it when I'm done. Just fucking deal with it. Everything you both see as defaults. Like you might just assume you will cook and she will do laundry. Or who and when do you grocery shop? Both of you are entering with assumptions about what marriage looks like, and you need to find those and talk them out. Also play a lot of what ifs. What if your mom needs long-term care? Move her in? Put her in a home? What if a pregnancy happened tomorrow? Also figure out holidays. Do double duty? Split Thanksgiving and Christmas, then a rotation every year. Sex. It sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. If she is. Right now. Missionary only twice a month. Prepare for some porn, masturbation habits developing in 10 years. Be open about your sexual expectations and hers, both, and as the years go by. Whether you want children or not seems pretty silly, but I've seen people divorce because one wanted kids and the other didn't. So they either had kids and resented the other for making them, or don't have kids and the one that wanted children resents the other. Causes some serious problems, man. Introversion versus extroversion. One of you will need more alone time than the other. If you don't expect this going in, the one who needs less alone time could feel ignored or disliked, and the one who needs more alone time could feel smothered or pressured. Don't take it personally, but that's easier if you accept it up front instead of just discovering it gradually. To the more introverted one, it's an issue of sanity and energy. To the more extroverted one, it's an issue of feeling loved. What to do if tragedy strikes. These tough talks can save marriages. Come to agreement on matters like organ donation, prolonging life in a critical situation, like with a child, and any other traumatic scenario you can imagine. So you are already prepared with an agreed upon plan for when it happens. Ducking everything. Do not marry someone unless you know them better than they know themselves. There's literally no need to rush into it. Also, I've seen posts of people together 3 years, and only after getting married do they realize their partner doesn't want kids, or is a Nazi, or just doesn't believe in abortion. My question is, what do you fucking idiots talk about? Toothpaste, rolled up or squeezed from bottom. Wet towels, on the floor or hung up. Toilet paper, over or under? Clean clothes, folded and put away or piled in a corner? What happens in X years when the fire goes out? Because it will. That spark, that giddy feeling you get when you're around each other, that desire to never be apart, etc. What's called romantic love fades. What then? How deep is your commitment when the time comes that you realize you love your spouse, but you're not in love with them anymore? Because it will happen. Hell, if you stay together long enough, there might be times when you wonder if you even love them at all. What about 2 years? If you're really sincere about the whole "till death do us part" thing, you have to consider the possibility that your commitment is going to be tested long before you're on your deathbed. It will probably be tested repeatedly. If you want to be married to the same person for 40 or 50 or 60, you've got to understand that some of those years are gonna suck. This is something you should talk about. Mental health issues that either of you may suffer from. Religion. My son and I were raised different religions, and I have since stepped away from it completely. He stated he wants to raise our kids. We don't have any, just future plans. Talk Catholic. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. A contingency plan for when things start to go wrong. I think every couple should be prepared for the possibility of things going bad, so that they can acknowledge that their relationship is suffering and then say, well, we have a plan. Let's go be proactive and work on our relationship. But I'm mostly biased because my parents ignored their problems for 17 years and are just now separating.